Good evening. We'll start with and actually you both can sit down. This is where I get some people are like, oh, what just happened? Now my question is, I didn't ask them to come up, right? I just went like this. So everyone in here is probably thinking, okay, he wants them to come up here. Now we're in a safe environment, nothing's going to happen to you, but as far as awareness goes, how many of you ever told somebody something, done something, said something, or in my case, I'm on Amazon Prime one click and I press the button, and right afterwards I'm like, oh, why did I do that? Has anyone ever done anything like that before? Yeah, because we do things every day without thinking of the consequences. Now, how many of you, if somebody goes like this, you might come over, might. Well, if it's a really cute guy, then you're like, just a second! And then you're running knocking people over, cute guy is mine, get your own. Because are we more likely to go over to someone we consider good looking, normal looking, or abnormal looking? Good looking, right? Not too often we go, ugh, you're good looking, forget it. I'm going to the freak. But what is normal looking? Because you can't always tell. Now, this is very important. You can't always base something on what somebody looks like or what they do for a living. Good is good, and bad is bad. Now, what is self-defense? Self-defense is not martial arts, it's not karate, Krav Maga, it's not fighting, anything like that. Self-defense is actually a legal term. The state of Wisconsin states that you legally, ethically, and morally have the right to defend yourself under the threat of violence, and to use whatever force is necessary to do what? Stop somebody from hurting you. Self-defense isn't about who's right, it's not about who's wrong, it's not about who started it, it's not about revenge or anything like that. Self-defense is about stopping another human being from doing what? Hurting you. It's not about hurting them, it's about stopping them from hurting you. Now, one of the most important things, survival mechanisms that you have is your intuition, your gut feeling. Your intuition, your gut feeling overrides everything. I'd rather have you trust and have nothing happen to you than not trust and have something happen to you. Okay? Years ago, I was teaching at a workshop. A mom came up to me and she goes, Bill, I want to share a story with you. Years ago, when her daughter was 12 years old, she was at a friend's house. Now, I don't know the whole story, and I don't know exactly what was unfolding at that house, but something told this 12-year-old girl to leave. She left, and about 5 minutes later, the father of the family came home and took everyone's life that was in the house. Had she not listened to her intuition or gut feeling, what would have happened to her as well? She would have been a victim as well. Okay? Now, one of the most important things we can talk about is your body language and how you project confidence. Because if you look like a potential victim, you're more likely to become a victim. An attacker's more likely to attack somebody that looks weak, vulnerable, somebody who's not paying attention. Because how many of you walk a certain way in your own neighborhood where you feel safe? But if it's later at night, somebody you don't know so well, you might walk a little bit different. Who does that? Come on up, if you don't mind. Yeah, this time for real. We'll also talk about your other survival mechanisms, which is your hearing. Your what? What's that?
Hearing.
Yes, your hearing is one of your survival mechanisms as well. What are some things that could stop you from hearing what's going on around you? Wearing earbuds. If you have earbuds on, you're 1,000 times more likely to be attacked because you can't hear anything that's around you, okay? Or maybe footsteps behind you. All I ask you to do from now on, whenever you're out and about walking, wherever you are walking, whatever normal sound of decibel that's going on around you, or you have the normal sound of decibel that's going around you at all times. If something's above that normal decibel, just identify it. And if it's not a problem, your life goes what? On. If it is a problem, you have to do what? Deal with it, okay? Horns honking, dogs barking, whatever it is. Oh, I hear a shot or something like that. Now I have to do something, okay? And then your other survival mechanism is your peripheral. What are some things that are very distracting? I don't know if you guys, anybody in high school or something like that, where you see people walking down the street, they're very distracted with what? And I see people walk right in the street with that and almost get hit. A few incidents in the area where someone got hit by a train. They're just totally unaware. Okay? Your peripheral. So that means if I'm looking at you right now, I can see you right there. I can see you just moving your hand here like that. All I ask you to do from now on, wherever you are, restaurant, traveling, wherever you are, if something comes into your peripheral, just identify it. And if it's not a problem, your life goes on. And if it is a problem, you have to do what? Deal with it at that time. Okay. So, what's your first name again? Melissa. Just walk how you normally walk during the day in your own neighborhood where you feel safe. Sun's out, it's a beautiful day. All right. So later at night, you're walking past me. Show me what you might do different. Okay, good. The bright lights are available, though. All right, good. Now, nothing I teach is guaranteed to work. I just share information with you. What might work in one scenario might not work in another scenario. And there's advantages and disadvantages to everything that we talk about. Would you make eye contact? Should you? Who here would make eye contact? All right, we lean more on the side of eye contact, but quick eye contact, you don't want to make it confrontational. Walk towards me, Melissa. You don't want to be like this. You want to walk tall. You want to walk with confidence, okay? If you don't like looking somebody in the eye, if you look at them in the chin, it gives them a perception that you're looking at them, okay? And I wouldn't walk around with a mean mugging face, because that could be confrontational to some people as well, okay? So this time I want you to be totally distracted. We're going to change it up a little bit.
Like I'm on my phone.
You're on your phone, you got earbuds on, you're walking past me. Go ahead. Wow, how does that feel, parents? Because she was what? Totally distracted. What could have happened? That's why it's so important to walk with confidence, have your head on a swivel, looking around. And just by doing that alone, if you don't mind staying up here, just by doing that alone, you're going to look more confident, okay? And also, by looking at the person, you can do what? Identify them, and also what else?
Size them up.
Yeah, you can also identify them. Yeah, you size them up. All right, now, I'm going to walk towards you. Tell me when you feel uncomfortable.
No.
Okay, my wife and kids say right about here. Now, if I'm asking you for directions, never do what? Turn your back. Why? Because they could do what at that time? Yes, they could grab you, whatever it is. Or even maybe attackers don't have a big, complex way. It's usually a common thing such as like, hey, do you know what time it is? Okay, or asking for directions. Now, a lot of people will tell a person why, because they want to be polite. Okay, but what's rude though is that they're getting into your personal space and making you feel uncomfortable. It's okay to speak up, but a lot of people won't speak up again because they don't want to be rude. But what's rude is that they're getting into your personal space and making you feel uncomfortable. That is rude. Now, this is what I like to do. Just put your hands up here like this. Say, how can I help you? Good. Now they have to stake their claim and what they might want from you. Okay, which might be 3 things that an attacker might want from you in general. See, there's social violence and antisocial violence. Social violence is usually 2 good people and they get into an argument over something stupid. Like, you looked at me funny, you took my parking spot, your dog pooped in my yard. Just silly things like that. Road rage, right? And they get into an argument over something stupid and something bad happens to one of them because they won't back down or whatever it is. Don't challenge or threaten anybody. Your goal is to get home to your family. That's what self-defense is. And then there's antisocial violence. That's when somebody's picking and choosing you as their victim. And they usually want something from you, such as your valuables, your body, or your life. If somebody wants my valuables, I'm giving it up. Okay, 9 out of 10 times if you give somebody your valuables, they're satisfied and they take off. Okay. I say if you can throw something in your purse, wallet, whatever, and run the other way, do it. Now, I'm almost 50 years old. I start running about 10 feet. My ankles hurt, my knees hurt. I'm pulling my chiropractor on speed dial. Hey, can you get me in? Hey, Buck, can you get me in? Okay. So I can't say always run. What if you have a disability? When I go to school, somebody usually has an ankle injury or something like that. Or if you're in a dorm, a small area, confined area, you might not be able to run. Or you got a cute little baby in a stroller. You're at the park, somebody comes up to you and you don't feel comfortable. You can't just leave the baby there and be like, good luck, go for the eyes. If they don't want your valuables, the next 2 are worse, but it's good to know this so you can prepare yourself physically and mentally. If they don't want your valuables, they want your body or your life, or all 3 of them, or just 2 of the 3 of them, or whatnot, okay? But it's good to know that. And there's 3 things an attacker doesn't want. They don't want to get hurt, they don't want to get caught, and they don't want attention drawn to them. For the most part, a sociopath, they could go rob somebody in the daylight, no hoodie on, a bank or whatever, and don't care if they get caught or go back to jail or prison or wherever. Okay? So always got to think about what kind of person are you dealing with. Now, if I ask you for directions or a time and you say no, that should be it. The word no is a complete sentence on its own. So if you drop your groceries in the store and I say, ma'am, do you need help? And you say no, that's it. Somebody comes up, asks you for your phone number on a date, whatever it could be, and you say no, that's it. Now, the word no comes in different forms, such as leave me alone. I don't like it when you talk to me like that. I don't like it when you put your hand on me. Whatever it is, okay? The word no, again, is a complete sentence on its own. If they keep persisting, Melissa, and they keep coming towards you, they probably want something from you, okay? Your valuables, your body, or your life. They're not respecting you as a human being because they're ignoring your no's, okay? And they probably want something from you, okay? Now, one of your most, the biggest thing that an attacker or a bad person has over their victim, the biggest power they have over their victim is their victim's silence. Okay? When we go to schools, we tell people if something has happened to you, which violence comes in many forms, is to tell somebody. Usually it's the first 2 people that listen. Okay? If they don't listen, you go and you have to go to 1 million people, 1,000,001, 1,000,002 until somebody listens. You might have to. Okay? And I'll share a quick story with you. When my best friend, when she was 6 years old, she was sexually assaulted by a friend of the family. She went to she went and told somebody about the incident and went in one ear, out the other. A few years later, she went to a sleepover, and a relative of the family did something to her while she was sleeping. Now, this young lady had a lot of more incidents that happened throughout her life. Because nobody believed her, she took everything that happened to her and she buried it 1,000 feet into the earth and everything like that. Anyways, as she got older, she started getting memories back and she started putting pieces back together. Okay? But the first few people did not listen to her and she didn't tell anyone else. Okay? So, tell somebody until somebody listens, and somebody will listen at some point. Okay? And then one more thing. Very important. Where do you think the most vulnerable spot in the body is if you had to protect yourself? Worst case scenario, somebody's trying to go for your body or in your life and you had to protect yourself. And most forms of violence comes in the form of an ambush when you're least expecting it. Where would be the most vulnerable spot in the human body?
Your eyes.
Your eye. Who said eyes? If you agree with them, say aye. I made that one up. Oh, do you know what time it is when 6 people are chasing you? 6 after 1. The eyes are the most vulnerable spot in the body. You can't go to the gym and say, hi, can you direct me to the eye strengthening machine and hang weights off your eyes? You can't strengthen it like you can other body parts. Moving down here like this, what's the next most vulnerable spot? The throat. Okay? Everything else, including the groin, is secondary. Okay? So if somebody's attacking you from the backside, you can't get to their face. You're going for everything, including the groin, to get back up to the face. And to be honest with you, this does not take years to learn. Self-defense, it only takes hours. So, I'd like to thank everybody, and you guys have a great night. Thank you for coming up.